Hey guys, it's Carly from All the Pretty Books, and I'm coming to you today to discuss a question that I've been asked and seeing asked quite a bit. And we're going to discuss, is my Harry Potter valuable? Sorcerer's Stone edition. So, bear in mind, when this book was first published all the way back in October 1998, the very first print run, when a print run is like a batch of books that were printed. There are like 116 batches of these books now, so millions of them. There are millions of the first edition Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone that have now been produced since it was first published all the way back in 1998. In the very first print run or batch of books, there were roughly 30,000 to 35,000 in the first print run or first batch. And I know that that was 25-ish years ago. A lot have been lost to time and other weird things and so on. And those first print books are the ones that are going to have the most value out of all the first edition Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone books. So what does the first print, first edition Sorcerer's Stone look like? Let's discuss it. To start, your question is valid, asking what your Harry Potter book is worth. You've had probably Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. If you have a first edition, you may have had it 25 years. So wondering what it is valued at now, 25 plus years later, makes sense. But to start, Harry Potter was first published, so the first edition was first published in 1998. Before 1998, there was not a first edition trade, meaning open to the public to buy at a bookstore, of Sorcerer's Stone. You know, there are some things that existed during the production process, like advanced reader copies and so on. We're not discussing that today. We're just going to be discussing the first edition Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and the value and how to value it. So, to start, the first edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is still in print, which is phenomenal. It's great for the books. It's harder for the collectors because it creates a lot of confusion. What do I mean by still in print? And that simply means I can go to Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, or really anywhere that sells books on the in the primary markets, the big box stores, Amazon, things like that. And I can still buy the book brand new from there. Okay, it's about $27, $28. The price has gone up since it was first released. I can still buy it brand new, and it's like 114th, 116th print. So if I were to go to Barnes & Noble and buy, 114th print Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, first edition, would it be worth the $3,000 sometimes that the first edition Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone can sell for? No. So what makes the big difference between the $3,000 plus books and the $27 book that I can just go buy right now? And it's a bunch of little things, actually, that we need to be aware of as collectors and so on. What Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone books are worth the money. So when Harry Potter was first published, it was issued, meaning released with, a jacket that had a quote on the back from The Guardian. And you wouldn't think that would matter, but it totally matters to collectors. That's going to be what we want. And the first edition, first print, meaning it was the first print, the very first of the first edition. There were no other prints of the first edition that existed. So the first print of the first edition in the very first jacket is what collectors want. Okay? And you would think that'd be easy, but they look so similar. These first print, first edition, first dates look so similar to some other things that are out there in the marketplace that it creates a lot of confusion, and especially new collector confusion, buyer confusion, or people who think they may have a valuable book and they don't know quite what they're looking for. The first date jacket is going to be where we start. And like I said, that has a quote on the back from The Guardian. So I apologize, it's a highly reflective book cover that I'm not really able to take out. But it says, Harry Potter in big bold letters. And it says, Harry Potter could assume the same near-legendary status as Roald Dahl's Charlie of Chocolate Factory fame. The Guardian, London. Okay. And as the books were being published, about the, probably I would say tail end of the second print and into the third print, Sorcerer's Stone, they released a new jacket with the very ubiquitous Publisher's Weekly quote with what is still on the back of all the jackets today. And it's "A delightful," in big letters instead of Harry Potter. "A delightful award-winning debut from an author who dances in the footsteps of P.L. Travers and Roald Dahl. Publisher's Weekly starred review." So that changed. And collectors want the Guardian quote jacket. That's going to be what we're going to pay the big bucks for. But beyond that, we're going to want the first print book of the first edition. So what does that look like? And before I get going, there's some other differences on the first date jacket. But the biggest one, the easiest to spot, is going to be the Guardian quote. Okay, there's other little things that we can get into, and I've written articles, blog posts, other videos about it, and podcast episodes. The information I've definitely put out there, so as other people like Peter the Potter Collector and other collectors as well. The information is there. The easiest to spot for most collectors, especially new collectors, is the Guardian quote jacket. And to know if you've got an earlier state jacket, you're going to want to look for the cream colored, like book, or not bookmark, but cream colored barcode. That's the word I was trying to find, because it changed to pink sometime in early 20s print, somewhere in there. So then we're going to be discussing what the first edition book looks like outside of the jacket. For starters, always purple and red boards, red spine cloth, purple boards. If you have a Sorcerer's Stone that is any other board color, it is not a first edition, and they do exist. Those are going to be what's called book clubs, and I'll get into that later on in the video. So for starters, once you get past the jacket, you have to have the purple and red boards. And for the first print, it'll say J.K. Rowling. This is pretty hard to see because it's had a lot of wear, but J.K. Rowling and no one. The one came later on in publishing history. And you'll see the same J.K. Rowling mirrored on the Guardian quote jacket or first date jacket as well. It's just hard to see because of the mylar thing. Then importantly, you're going to see this number line 1 through 10 on the copyright page. The 1 through 10, the 1 indicates a first print. So this is a first print, first edition, and a first date jacket. That is the rarest, most in demand book, Sorcerer's Stone book that collectors are going to want. So how do we determine value if that is indeed what you have? Again, we're not going to look at signed things. Signed things change the rules. If you indeed have a first print, first edition, and a Guardian quote jacket, congrats, that's awesome. It's a fun book. Looking at value, then, we're going to be looking at condition. Condition is so important. It is key in determining value. You can have a first print, first edition Sorcerer's Stone and a first date jacket, and if it looks like it's been sat on, trampled, read by an elephant, you may get $200 for it, and may is hard. People will want to save their money potentially for one that they can buy for $1,500, $3,000 to get the finest example they can afford. This book itself has seen better days to start looking at. I'm trying to get, I don't know if you can see this, it's been bumped on both sides on the bottom. There's a little bit of a spine lean present because it's been read. Stuff like that. I would say, my book right now is probably good plus, very good minus, somewhere in there. And so if I had to value it as is, I would probably say, I don't know, maybe $1,000, $1,200 with the condition it's in. If it were fine, the value could be anywhere between $1,500, $3,000. So condition is so important when determining value for the first print, first edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone books. Moving on from the first print Sorcerer's Stone, are there any other Sorcerer's Stone books that have value in the first, that are also first edition? If they're not signed, really, no. There are some neat things like this guy right here is a misprint. You can see it has no foiling. It has the Harry Potter embossing, so it just somehow, the jacket wasn't foiled, even on the spine. I think I paid $5 for it. Granted, I was on eBay. It was a stock photo. It was $5 plus shipping and tax, so it was definitely under 10. And it's a 26th print. But that being said, you know, misprints don't inherently add value. And I've seen a lot of people, especially lately, thinking that because they have a misprint or they found a misprint, their book is inherently worth a lot of money. And it's right now, there's just not a market for it, meaning you can have it, there's not a demand. Okay, collectors at this point in time aren't really collecting them and they're not spending a lot of money on them. I do have friends that collect them. They paid $20 for them tops. And misprints are great for identifying already rare books. Like in the case of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the first edition, first print of that has a few typos, misprints, and whatnot. And those help identify the book, right? That's why they matter. The error itself adds no value. If it were to exist in another book, it would add no value. So at least at this time, this misprint is neat, but it's a 26 print book. There's really not a high demand for foilless jackets in the Harry Potter collector market. So it might be a $15, $20 book, $10 book, somewhere in there. Moving on quickly to book clubs. There are so many book clubs of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, okay? And what a book club is, it's like Book of the Month, Oprah's Book Club, and so on. You subscribe to the book club, they mail you a book so you can read it. They aren't books that you can go buy in the open market. I mean, you can go buy Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, of course, but you can also sign up for Junior Library Guild Book Club, and they'll mail you their particular edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So stuff like that. And book clubs are adding a whole bunch of confusion for the first edition books because they look so similar to what the rare books are. This is a Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone book club. This is a first edition. I know this one is the foilless one, but to keep things simple, I'm just going to use this for comparison. They're about the same size. This one's a wee bit shorter, but it's really only tellable in person. Some Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone book clubs are much shorter. Like this one right here is much shorter. What about book club value? And at this point in time, there's only one Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone book club that is really worth anything monetarily. And we're not really going to discuss it here. I've talked about it in other places. And I can put links down below. And I can always discuss it again if need be, but just to keep things simple, we're not going to discuss it here. By and large, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone book clubs don't have a lot of value. You can purchase so many of them for like $5, $10, $20, condition depending. Yes, you will see them on sale in Facebook Market, Facebook Harry Potter groups, and eBay and other places as rare Harry Potter first print book club. Guys, with the exception of like two, most, well, Harry Potter book clubs have the same number line as your first print. Isn't that great? So the big easy things to tell if you have a book club are, it is the jacket first and foremost. This will not be raised. It will be matte, flat, whatever. Sometimes the book club jackets themselves have texture, sometimes they don't, but this is never raised. There is no price on the book club jacket because they weren't open to sale in the open market, right? You couldn't go to Barnes & Noble and buy a book club. Importantly, the boards are going to be not purple and red, like the first edition. All first edition Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone books are purple and red. Boards are purple and red. If they're not purple and red, it's a book club. This is a book club, and it's caused quite a bit of uproar because on the book spine itself, it says J.K. Rowling, like you'll get on the first print book or early print books, like first, second, third, fourth print books, it doesn't add value. The 1 through 10 number line in the book club also doesn't add value. Here is the smaller book club. And again, there's no jacket, or there's no price on the jacket. And this time, the boards are red. They're entirely red. And let's see what the copyright page looks like. This one doesn't have a number line. It just says at the very bottom, printed in the USA. That's it. So that is also another version of a book club. Here are two others. They're also on the shorter side. This time the jackets are very shiny. They don't wear very well. And instead of saying like J.K. rolling on the spine, they say rolling on the spine. So they came later on. This one again is another book club. See how that's all flat and not shiny. It's not foiled because it's a book club. And it's blackboards. So again, many different board colors out there. Only the first edition will have red and purple boards. Okay, so, and you'll see people that argue that book clubs have value, and there's only one that really does, and that is the Junior Library Guild book club, and I've talked about that in other places, so we're not going to discuss it today. But anyway, I hope that helps kind of answer some of your questions about Sorcerer's Stone value, at least where to start. Really, if it's not a first print, first edition, and a first date jacket, and it's not signed by J.K. Rowling or cast or somebody in the creation of the book, you're really looking at a book that has minimal value. If it's a second print, third print, fourth print, there is some inherent value in there, but it's definitely much smaller or lower than the first print, first date, first edition Sorcerer's Stone, which is that's the one that everyone wants out of the trade or first edition books, okay? So hopefully that'll help you in your collecting journey, or at least identifying what book you may have, okay? I'm selling books over on my website, alltheprettybooks.net. I've got translations and a few other Harry Potter books for sale at this time. I will be adding more to the website for sale because I have so many more that aren't added at this time. I don't have anything that's super rare or valuable at this time for sale, but that will change. Okay, if you're looking for something specific, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. I can at least keep eyes out for you, okay? If you have collecting questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can also check out the podcast I co-host, Dialogue Alley, which is the official podcast of the Potter Collector. So you can check us out. We do discuss lots of different things beside Harry Potter translations. We discuss value and so on quite a bit. With that, I'm going to say you guys are great. Have a magical evening and happy collecting. Good night.